Hey, this is Graycie York, and you're listening to Texas Toast Podcast.
Best, so let's go.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast. And I'm so happy because Graycie York is here. And Graycie, we have
Hey.
talked about numerous, I think practically since the podcast has been together, probably every song you've released, we've covered and we've talked about. You do such a phenomenal job. You're so talented. So, how are things going for you?
They're good. They're good. We've kind of been taking this month off and just resting and resetting and kind of getting our ducks in order. And then next month, we're hitting the road pretty hard. We have no open weekends in September. So I'm very excited to hit the ground running again. And it's going to be fun.
That's awesome, as it should be. So let's talk about your background in music. I know that you've been doing this since you were young, and talk about your development in music and when you got your first guitar.
Yeah, so I have been singing my whole life. There's a million videos like on our little home camcorder that we used to have of me singing in my little microphone and running around the house and just the diaper singing like Rascal Flatts and Kenny Chesney. Um, and then I just got older and I watched Hannah Montana and all the Disney shows and got hooked on those. And I was like, I want to be just like Hannah Montana. Um, Obviously, that didn't happen. I kind of still wear the wig. I have the fake hair, so it's we're kind of halfway there. But I got my first guitar when I was about 12 or 13 for Christmas, and I didn't pick it up for a year. I tried to go to lessons and I hated it. I was like, I want to do this myself. I want to teach myself and learn on my own. And so I just watched YouTube videos and watched other artists that I love and picked it up from that. And I wrote my first song when I was 16, 17, around there. And from then it just hasn't stopped. And I never want it to because I genuinely don't see myself doing anything else in this life.
Oh, absolutely. That's for sure. And I, I was real, I was, that was one of the things I was going to ask you that, and you kind of answered my question already. So I just can't believe you let the guitar sit for a year because I was going to ask you, what was your first reaction like when you saw that guitar? But yeah, you
Yeah.
answered that perfectly.
Yeah. I was so excited because I finally like had a guitar of my own, and then I would play it like just a little bit, but then I got so frustrated that I was like, I'm not doing this. So I put it down and then I picked it back up and I haven't put it down since. So
So while you were in your youth and you did start singing, so you wrote your first song at 16. You want to share that a little bit? What was it?
yeah, so I'd written like kind of like half songs before I'd written a complete full song that weren't bad, but now that I look back at them, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't do anything with that because that is awful. But I wrote Patsy Kind of Night around then, and I just knew that I loved Patsy Cline, and I didn't want to try to box myself into writing like other people because it wasn't getting me anywhere. And so I finally like honed my own craft of songwriting and what made me feel comfortable and what I love to sing about and write about. And I knew that I loved Patsy Cline so much, and so I wrote a song about that, and that kind of made me believe in myself as a songwriter because, like I said, I had never finished a whole song before in the past, but I finished that one and everybody loved it. And so to see that reaction, I was like, well, maybe I can be a songwriter too. So it really changed my whole life.
Yes. And so Patsy Kind of Night was that was your first release.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so what
Yeah.
inspired you to go in and get that recorded and move forward with it?
Well, I really wasn't doing like a ton with music yet. I kind of was just going to open mics still and meeting a bunch of people like around my hometown area. And I would play that song at the open mics, and then I would do like a couple covers. And people were like, you need to get that recorded and put that out because it's an amazing song. And so I found he was my drummer back then and my producer. He's no longer either of those things. He's moved on and plays with Cody West now, and I'm so happy for him. And we still keep in touch. But back then, he was my producer and drummer, and we did Patsy Kind of Night at his house, at his parents' house, in like one of their bedrooms, and recorded it there. And we recorded several others after that, but I knew that I wanted to record that one because I was so in love with it, and I knew that as a first release, it was going to be a smart choice, a smart move, and I'm still really happy with it, and I never regret making that my first choice because I still love that song and it's one of my favorites to perform still.
That's awesome. And speaking of your hometown, you grew up in Rockwall.
I did, yes. Where
What
I'm
was
at
it
right
like
now.
growing up there? Well, you're there now?
Yeah, I've been here. I've been here my whole life. Yeah, all 21 years. I'm ready to
Nothing
go.
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But
No.
you know, you'll carry those hometown roots with you everywhere you go, right?
Yeah, it's just getting a little crowded out here. It's traffic's a little bad. Thank God
Oh,
school is back in session because that helps a little bit, but traffic is getting a little crazy out here.
I know it's everywhere. Like all the rural places that I used to know, and even in my adult life, getting crowded. I like how you said that. Yeah, it's getting a little crowded. Let's talk about your current release, which I fell in love with, Marlboro Magic. That
Hmm.
is so catchy and has
Thank
just such a personality to that whole song.
Yeah, I love how that one turned out. That's one of my favorite releases I've ever done, and I was so excited about that when we were in the studio recording it. I was like, "This is gonna be good. I know I have to do a music video and play this for everybody the second I get the master back." And then to hear everybody's reactions when I did play it for them, I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm glad y'all feel the same way because I love this one so much too." So I'm very happy with it.
So I also caught on some of your stuff as I was prepping for the podcast. I love the blooper reel that you did on it. Marlboro
Yeah,
Tragic, is that what it was
yeah,
called? Marlboro Tragic
yeah,
really was
yeah.
awesome.
I knew in the filming because I'm a pretty silly person, just in my everyday life, and I say some really funny things, and or at least I think I do. And so I knew that I wanted a blooper reel because we were acting fools anyway, and we had a lot of great moments from that. Obviously, it's like an 8-minute video, so um, I knew that I wanted to put out a blooper reel because I personally love watching those myself and like seeing more of the artist personality. And so
Mhm.
I definitely wanted to do that, and I love it.
Yeah, and that's and you know, and that's the thing. Like I'm kind of like you. Sometimes I think I say something funny, but it's really not that funny. But having fun with stuff just I think makes things turn out so much better, and you make so many memories when you walk in with that kind of attitude to where it's like, okay, yes, I may mess up. There's no telling what's going to come out of my mouth, but we're going to do this. It's going to be awesome, and then we're walking away with some bloopers as well.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel every night on stage. I have no idea what I'm gonna say, but it might be funny, it might not, but I'm still gonna say it. We're gonna take a leap of faith and say it.
Are the cutest. Now, another one too that we covered, Family Affair. That one is, I mean, it's just like everything you come out with. I mean, like I could just go on, but Family Affair, talk about that one. I got to.
Yeah, so I knew I wanted a murder song, and I knew that I had to have one, and I felt like after I recorded because I recorded 5 songs when I went up to Nashville, and when I recorded that one, I was like, you know what? I really like the beginning of this one, and it's been over a year since I released anything, so I think this is going to be a good first kind of leap back into releasing music. And I wrote the song, I played it for my family, and they were like, "Wait, so now we're murderers?" And I was like, "Well, maybe, maybe. I don't know what's
Daddy,
gonna happen."
Daddy.
Yeah, Dad, you're one of man. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just like sat down one day and I wrote 2 songs that day back to back, both about kind of that darker side of, like domestic abuse or spousal abuse. And I've never personally experienced something like that. And I pray that I never do because it's absolutely awful. But I think that it's important to shed light on those kinds of topics because it's hard to talk about those things, but it's very important that people know that it's a very real and unfortunately a very common thing that happens and that there is help and that you know it's a funny song about goodbye Earl references and my family is murderers, but at the end of the day like it really is just to shed more light on the fact that that does happen and a lot of people stay quiet about it, but I am very happy with how that song turned out as well.
Talking about the whole domestic violence thing and the stories behind it and how it affects people in all situations, in all types of families. And I have a story of my own, but I appreciate when those songs, when you girls and the guys do it, mainly some of you girls have really come out with some dynamic songs addressing that particular subject. Now, you also, I want to go back and talk about Texas Rain because I love Case Harden. and
Mhm.
he had that on his album back in 2016, and you did a version of Texas Rain, and man, the streams on it just blew up. So how
I
did that
know.
come about, picking up that song and getting it out there?
Yeah, so the craziest part is I honestly so before I kind of entered the Texas scene, I didn't listen to Texas music that often because I wasn't very aware with, this whole Texas music kind of thing. And um, I didn't even know that Case had put out a version of Texas Rain until after I released mine. And I was like, oh, wait, because somebody told me. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Um, so I don't know, I released that song I released my cover of it during COVID because I was bored and I was like, "I need to release some covers to, you know, help keep that social media train running," and, I just knew I loved that song and I knew people love that song, but I was like, "Let's flip it and make it fun and do it from the girl's perspective instead," and people really liked it, and so I, got approval to release it, and I don't know, I think it just ended up on playlists and on, TikTok videos, and all of a sudden I had a million streams in a year and I was like,
Mhm.
what is going on? And then it just hit 2 million the other day, and it's so nuts. It's like a number I look at and I can't even process it. I'm like, what is that? Like there's no way it's been listened to on just Spotify over 2 million times. Um, but yeah, I still love playing that song. It shows because it's funny to hear people sing the original version while I'm singing like the female version and hearing those
Yes.
two collide. And I'm like, y'all are messing
Yes.
me up. I'm gonna sing the original version.
Well,
I
and
have
I
messed
like
up once.
Yeah, well, you did a great job on that. And I found that so interesting. And let's talk about, because you kind of network a lot. And see, now here's going to be one of my things, because I have a problem with saying this particular word, if it's cooperate or collaborate. But you collaborate, like you and Kobe Cooper co-wrote Whiskey together. I know you and
Mhm.
Palmer Anthony have done a song together. I know that Tanner Ustray is important in your career. So let's talk about your networking and coming together with some of those guys.
Yeah, so Tanner was one of the first people that I had ever met in the scene. I knew him through Twitter, and I saw him play "Beautiful Lies" on there before he had actually released it, and I was like, "Holy hell, this man is amazing! Like he is going to be ginormous." And I mean, obviously he's kicking butt right now, and he's never home. I never get to see him anymore or hang out with him, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, he really gave me a lot of platform to, you know, make a name for myself. He gave me spots at shows and let me sing on songs with him and do harmonies and helped me meet a bunch of people. And so I really am grateful to him. I was actually thinking about texting him this morning, just sending him a little nice note because we never talk nice to each other. We're like brother and sister.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I owe Tanner a lot. But I don't know. I just meet a lot of these artists at festivals and other shows. Because one thing about Texas is you go to one person's show and you'll see another artist there supporting,
Mhm.
and I think that's so cool. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody I've met so far has been incredible and
Mhm.
just so kind. And my music family is my extended family. I don't have siblings, so there's truly like my brothers and sisters that I never had.
Well, I talk about this all the time, but it's like truly, truly our Texas country music industry, we are all like family. We may only see each other maybe a few times a year, but when we do, it is all on. It is just like hugs and just catching up and just embracing and just hugging that person, because it's like, I may not see you again in 6 months and you're just trying to catch up. But yeah, we're just one big family from everybody in the industry. So I'm so glad that you're able to embrace that. And of course, you're just lovable anyway and embraceable. So let's talk about future projects coming up for you musically. Are you working? I mean, you kind of hinted earlier that you kind of took some time, that you've got a lot coming up. Let's talk about music first of all.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I recorded 5 songs total when I took a quick trip to Nashville earlier this year, and, I definitely will have, I've already released 2 of the 5, and the rest of the 3 will be coming out, before the end of this year for sure. I'm very, very excited about them. They are some of my favorite songs I've ever done, and it was such an honor to get to go to Nashville and watch, studio players and watch them make these songs come to life better than I could have dreamed of them. There's a love song coming out, which that's not like me. I definitely don't sing about love ever. Uh, but I am in a very happy place, a very good place in life, and there's there's some sad ones on there. Let's not get it twisted. I'm still sad in some of them, but I'm very excited about that music.
And then now you're talking about your September schedule being loaded up. What is maybe one of the biggest aha moments for you since you've jumped full time into music, really getting out there where you've been on stage and something just happened that was amazing?
When we played Peacemaker Festival last year in Arkansas, I was on the same lineup as, some of my favorites, like Charlie Crockett and Lucas Nelson,
Mm.
and Zach Bryan even headlined that weekend as well. So it was just this huge festival filled with, I mean, amazing names. And I remember Lucas Nelson came over to me after our set and told me how much he enjoyed it. And I just like was freaking out because I'm a huge Willie fan, huge Lucas fan. Like I just love that whole family. And I remember that he had specifically asked for a few artists to stand side stage during his set to watch, and I was one of them. And he did an acoustic version of Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, just him. And I remember looking out into the audience and just had tears just fall out of my eyes, and I was sobbing. I was like, I can't believe this is my life. This is all I've ever dreamed about. Like standing here, hearing this song right now. Like my mom is right next to me, and Tanner's behind me. Charlie Crockett's to the right of me. Like it was just an insane moment, and I will never forget that weekend. It was one of the best weekends of my life.
Wish we were sitting in the same room together because I have to show you my legs right now. They have goosebumps. I love that story. That's what I love about this podcast. That's what I love about talking to our Texas country artists because I get stories like that. No, seriously. Okay. I'm warming up now. Where was I going from there? Your September schedule, what's some of the future dates coming up that you're like really like maybe was on your wish list or some venues coming up that you're looking forward to?
So in October, we actually get to headline the Chevy Main Stage at the State Fair of Texas, which is
Um,
nuts because I have grown up going to the fair every single year. I absolutely love the fair, and it's literally 30 minutes away from me, so I love it. And I saw so many artists play the Chevy Main Stage, and I remember just dreaming that I got to do that. And so we get to do that this year, and we actually are like the headline spot at like 8:30 p.m. It's not like a noon slot, so
oh, wonderful.
yeah, I'm so excited. And I mean, I've already talked to a bunch of like my family and friends. They're coming out, and so it's gonna be just like a full circle moment for me. And I geek out every time I think about it. But we're also going back to Green Hall with William Beckman
Oh
in a couple
my
weeks.
goodness. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Love.
and
Mm.
yeah, I love William Beckman. He's honestly one of my favorites right now in the scene. He's just so genuine and so real classic country, but like mixed with Frank Sinatra, kind of
Hmm. Yes.
just angelicness. That's what I that's what I say. Like I'm not kidding. Last time we played at Green Hall, he woke up from his nap, went to sound check, started singing, and sounded like an angel. And I was like, I hate your guts. I really do. I was like, you didn't even need to warm up or anything. But yeah, that's another one I'm very excited for. It's going to be really hot, but I love Green Hall. I think it's such a historic and monumental place, and so it's an honor to get to play there.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful place. I've spent lots of time at Green Hall, and but you still get that same feeling no matter how many times you've been there. And I can only imagine what it's like as a musician walking in there, but just as a fan and someone that's a Texan that has a lot of pride to walk into
Mhm.
Green Hall, it's like you appreciate it every time you walk through those doors, no matter what.
Yeah, even if it's blistering hot and you're
Yes.
sweat going down your butt crack. Yeah, I love it. It's awesome. And we got to go through the Willie door the first time because we played a sold out show, and they got the Willie door, and that was so cool too.
Girl, you are just amazing. I just love it. I know we've already fallen in love with your music, but getting to visit with you, I can't wait to meet you in person. So let's talk about speaking of person, outside of the music, what are some of the things you like to do or things that you enjoy?
Well, recently I've been hanging out with my boyfriend quite a bit, and I never really talk about relationship stuff, but it's been very good. And like I said, I'm very very happy. I love going bowling with him and my family, or spending time with my best friend in Arkansas because we are 5 hours apart now, and her family just packed up and moved from Rockwall and moved to Missouri. So really going to Arkansas or her coming here is like the only time we get to see each other. But really just kind of, I'm a big family and friends
Mhm.
girl, but like a face to face kind of hangout. I'm not great on my phone. I'm not great with texting back people or calling people. So I'm a very face to face hangout kind of person. But I do, my family and my friends are my rock. And I love to hang out with them outside of doing music because they help keep me sane and keep me grounded and keep me me. So
Well, you are amazing and talented inside and out. I've had so much fun visiting with you. We'll be following your music. And one last question before I let you go. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
ooh,
I mean, now that you're
ooh,
21.
I know, right? I've only had so many months to think about this. No, I'm just kidding. I no, I mean, I don't, is a margarita? Is that a? That's not a cocktail, is it? I feel
Yes,
like I could be
yes,
a.
yes.
I feel like I could be
Margarita.
a margarita, maybe a spicy margarita.
Spicy margarita. That sounds good. Well, Gracie, it has been just such a joy visiting with you, and best of luck to you. We'll be following along, and I know hopefully I'll get to meet you soon down the road. So thank you so much, Gracie York.
Thank you so much.